Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Marvel Movie Talk. Very excited to talk Marvel and Marvel movies with each and every one of you. As always, I am Christian Blatt. Over there in the very handsome hat atop his head, the one, the only Bull Man, Eric Connor. How are you, sir?
Good morning, good evening, and good day.
And making his triumphant return, Nate Miller. Thank you, Nate, for being with us today.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yep.
Because I guess that's what we're doing right now.
And good
Guten
night and good
Tag.
luck. We've got all the salutations here. Nate, I will start with you and get your reaction to what is overshadowing She-Hulk this morning as we talk, which is, we knew a Deadpool 3 was happening. We knew that at some point, there had been meetings and talks and things. But what we didn't know was that Hugh Jackman would be reprising the role of Logan, aka Wolverine, for the movie after famously saying that he was done. Logan was a great finish for it. Patrick Stewart also said he was done playing Professor X in Logan, and it didn't take long for him to break that. So why stick to it? I suppose, but. I thought that the video, there have been two videos. The first one where just, Hugh's walking by in the background and he's like, "Hey, do you want to be in it?" And he just says, "Sure," and keeps walking. I thought that was a fun reveal instead of, some big presentation where he comes out with the claws at D23, but only because I wasn't at D23. If I was there, I would have wanted to, be like, "Oh my God." And he'd have his shirt off. He probably would have sung something from Les Mis, but that's just all up in my head. What do you think about this? The Deadpool 3 part, not surprising, but the Wolverine part is pretty surprising.
I guess I just assumed that we all were in agreement that this was going to happen, and I wasn't that surprised. I thought the announcement was really cool. I do like that they kind of went more of the tongue-in-cheek presentation, which definitely makes me feel good about the tone of what Deadpool 3 is going to be. But I can't really say that I'm surprised. Like, the rumors have been going on for a while, and inflation doesn't stop, and Marvel's got a lot of money, so
yeah,
it was bound to happen at some point. I will say though, especially with the way they did the announcement and then that other video that they did, like talking about it and stuff, it is feeling more to me that at this point that it's going to be almost like a buddy movie, and instead of just like Deadpool and Wolverine's in it, more than just like a little cameo, which is cool. The idea of that, especially knowing that it's still going to be rated R, with like Logan is the only other R-rated Wolverine we've gotten. So to then get primetime Wolverine able to cut people up, and also like Deadpool 2, they had them out there in the comic accurate suits. So are we going to see Hugh Jackman in the yellow and blue? Like, all of that stuff I'm excited for. But I guess I don't know. I just assumed this was going to happen. So the surprise part didn't really hit for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that look, at some point another actor will play Wolverine, but it was also like, well, why wouldn't it be Hugh Jackman? They're really, that's the Wolverine that we're accustomed to. That's who we want. That's who we want to see. I guess there's really only one other person who could play Wolverine, and that is, of course, our friend Michael Shirley, who joins us now.
Nice.
I think that you've been training your whole life to play Wolverine. But
yeah, I got my shirt on. I'm ready.
You do look like you're ready to drink a few too many beers out in a bar in the Yukon. Take on some ne'er-do-wells. To Nate's point about it looking like it's going to be a buddy movie, if they just take the script for Lethal Weapon 2 and just give all the dialogue, just to divide up the parts, Hugh should probably be the Mel Gibson part because he's also Australian. I'm going to be fine with that. I hadn't thought of that until Nate said it. What do you think, Eric, in terms of a Wolverine, Deadpool buddy? I wanted to say buddy cop, but I guess just a buddy film.
Well, I mean, those two guys have such great chemistry together. Like, they have been pranking each other for years across social media. And you could see even that second video, especially when the music kicks in and we have no idea what they're saying. Like they're having a blast. And Ryan Reynolds has found a way to make an entire career out of being maybe the greatest smartass we've ever had, as a Hollywood leading man, an A-lister, and I think like the fact that Deadpool works so well, Ryan Reynolds, they trusted him, right? They said, okay, like you know what to do with it, go ahead. And it would take something of that magnitude, I guess, to get Wolverine back. That and also, what you were saying, Nate, like a Brinks trucks full of money, which obviously Hugh Jackman's fine. He doesn't need any more, but I'm sure they're paying him a ton. And
they're paying him in solid adamantium,
basically,
so,
right.
Whatever he wants to do with it, And you want us to pay for Greatest Showman 2, 3, and 4? Great, we'll do that too. Just play Wolverine for a little bit.
Well, and it's like the buddy comedy that I kind of wish Winter Soldier and the Falcon was, because that one they were good together, but it never quite took off. And you put Hugh Jackman.
Is that a flying joke? That it never took off?
I muted it. I was going to go there, but I brought it back down by half a peg.
I'm glad. We leveled off.
I couldn't. I mean, 2 years couldn't happen soon enough. So yeah, and that logo is terrific. I think that's such a smart bit of marketing, because you're going to see that logo everywhere.
I mean, as soon as they're ready to sell me a T-shirt with it on it, I'll basically pre-order it now if I can. Michael, before you snicked your way in here, what we were saying was, this idea that Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine isn't shocking, but it also, I mean, to me, if he stuck to it and he just was like, yeah, I just want to be done, I mean, Christian Bale was, did they offer him like $1 billion to be Batman a few more times, like in Justice League or something? And he was just like, no, I'm good. So sometimes the money doesn't cure everything. But were you surprised in any way? And what do you think about a Deadpool Wolverine team up film?
I was a little surprised, but also Hugh Jackman's like one of those like drama kids and like loves attention, so it doesn't surprise me that he like wants to like keep...
So you're saying he's your spirit animal?
No, he's like, he's like Tom Brady, like retiring. It's just like kind of silly. But I like the idea of this movie, because Wolverine and the X-Force and Deadpool, it's all just kind of like, I don't know, kind of campy gore, kind of like just outrageously violent and ridiculous. And I think the way Deadpool 2 went, that this could be really great and really funny. I did kind of shudder, though, when Eric referred to Ryan Reynolds as an A-list celebrity. And I was just like, huh, okay. All right.
Just one more. I'm sorry. An A-list gin manufacturer is really what I meant to say.
Handsome, chiseled good looks, married to another, TV actress, but still, I would say step up from ScarJo.
Chiseled good looks. I don't know. I mean, I just can't see him really outside like fart jokes and like Van Wilder and like I don't know. I guess because I grew up watching him in like these teen comedies. I don't.
And two girls, a guy, in a pizza place.
Yeah, I
also, like, that's one of the things that made the original Deadpool so good, was that he actually cares about the character enough that he's not him most of the movie. He's got the makeup on or he's got the mask on. They didn't do the Tony Stark, Iron Man takes his helmet off literally any time possible so you can see, lead actor's face.
Nate, are you implying that he took this role more seriously than he did Green Lantern?
I think he was a little more invested in the project personally.
It might be safe to say that. So Daniel Drew in the chat reminded us that our friend Coy, who for a long time spearheaded the Popcorn Talk version of this show, Coy's idea was that the movie should be Deadpool kills the Fox Marvel universe, and have any returning actors from the X-Men and Fantastic Four would be there for him to run around killing them. I mean, I think that that's fun, and I love that idea. I just don't know that Disney that fits into their vision. I don't think that fits into Feige's vision. But as a fanboy, would I love to see that idea? Absolutely. I to see Chris Evans, Johnny Storm get sliced in half by Deadpool, sure, I would love to see that.
I was about to say I don't think Jessica Alba is gonna go for that.
What they'll just stuff some of those honest
Right.
diapers that she invented, in her face until she can't breathe anymore. You look at me confused, Eric. You haven't had small children in the last 5 years. Believe me, there's a very pricey
The Honest
line
Company.
of yeah.
I know Honest Tea. Is that related to Honest Tea? I know that.
I think so.
The drink.
No,
That's a
She's
great
no.
honest everything.
No,
right?
it's not related to the Honest Juices. I might actually have
I
the brand
see.
name wrong. What do I don't get kids in diapers anymore. That's fine.
I'm about to say, I thought you were the one that had little kids.
No, but I know that Jessica Alba had a product,
Did she invent it? Like, is this like her
She
patent?
invented
Please tell me it is.
diapers.
She did invent
She
diapers
invented
before.
diapers.
Yeah, before you
that's-
used to dig a hole and your kids would shit in it. Ghost 8386
Worked for
says
me.
Sam and Bucky relationship reminded him of 48 Hours.
No.
No.
It reminded me of
Another 48
another
hours?
48 hours.
Another
That's
48
the
hours,
issue.
yeah. You know what?
If it reminded me of 48 hours, I would never have complained.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
funny.
It's definitely
Another
another 48 hours. It's Beverly Hills Cop 3, It's
Oh,
where they go to
God.
the amusement park. Judge Reinhold's still in it. Come on.
I just rewatched those movies and I had so much fun until I got to the third one, and then I couldn't finish it.
The first Beverly Hills Cop, which is what people tuned in to hear us talk about, is as
man.
close to a perfect movie as you can get. The
Love
second
it.
one, there is definitely some drop off, but it's still fun. The third one, you're like, it's like when they adapt a movie into a TV show, and you're just like, oh man, just everything about this doesn't work.
12 Monkeys.
I like the 12
Fat
Monkeys.
Greek life.
I like the 12 Monkeys TV show.
The Big Fat Greek Wedding TV show. I think
where they had
is the
everybody
Beverly Hills
except
Cop
John
3.
Corbett.
Yeah.
If you remember, everyone
Yes,
in the
I do.
cast except John Corbett. Anyway,
Why is
everybody-
he so hard to get?
yeah.
You read the script.
I'm gonna bet he probably just asked for too much money. Lewis Cox says, Marvel, please keep Ryan as Deadpool. Honestly, he'd have to want to stop being Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
The way that Deadpool looks, he's not going to age out of the role. It's just like, what, his face looks too old? That's going to be all right, because what does he look like? There's whole bits. And Ivan Soto agrees with me, so I know I'm in good company. 12 Monkeys was an incredible show.
Whatever.
However, that showrunner was responsible for season 2 of Star Trek Picard. So look, we all have our mistakes. In any case, let us know in the chat. We have any naysayers in the chat who are like, ugh, more Wolverine? I don't know. I think, the second trailer, little teaser thing that they did, obviously didn't address things, but they understand there's a lot of questions. I mean, I don't know. Anybody who knows comic books is like, oh, but didn't he die in Logan? I'm like, yeah, that was set in the future. So this is going to be before that. Can we just enjoy the fact that we're getting Wolverine and not worry about it?
I mean, a good writer.
Literally
can
have
write.
not heard anybody talk about Deadpool movie continuity within the Fox X-Men universe until right now.
You follow better people on Twitter than I do, because
Well,
it did come
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, it's I don't know, but I'm excited, and I look forward to it in a scant 2 years. Before we dive into She-Hulk, I know that the other big news is the Marvel property that our friend Zia has been looking forward to the most for the longest time. She's
Really?
the one. Is Blade? Yes,
Okay.
she's very excited for Blade, and they're I don't know, a month away from going into production, and they've lost their director, which is not the first time this has happened to a Marvel or Disney property. But how do we feel about this, Eric? Director stepping back that close to cameras rolling.
Yeah, well, it's a 1-2 punch too, because there's that, which obviously not a great sign. But then also found another article somewhere that apparently
from We Got This Covered.
One of those
Yeah,
lesser publications, admittedly. apparently he's not happy with the material, according to that. Now, again, who knows? But none of this is made. I mean, because Blade was one too. I mean, the first Blade, like it's kind of lost its importance, but that was a game-changing film for a lot of different reasons.
When
And
you
Blade
watch it
2 is
through the
even
prism
better.
of when it was released,
Yeah, oh
absolutely,
yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah,
yeah, and Blade 2 was even better. I mean, Guillermo del Toro brought in like wrestling moves, which is like I didn't realize how much of my inner and outer geek needed to see a suplex done by a vampire until I saw it. And I've never stopped seeing it ever since. And so it would be. I just worry because it's such a cool property. He's such a terrific actor, and I mean, you
Mahershala
saw the
Ali. I mean,
yeah,
obviously, Wesley Snipes is a treasure of our generation, but this
yeah,
film will feature Mahershala Ali.
yeah, and I mean a 2-time Oscar winner, but also remember at was it 2019's Comic-Con when it first came up, and just the response that got,
Yeah.
like it's obviously like everyone's so excited about that one, and it's so different, and they've already teased it. So I don't know. I mean, a director leaving 2 months before that is not. I mean, clear that goes beyond creative differences.
Well, it's Disney, so they'll probably see what Ron Howard's doing and just drop him into it, and it'll be fine. He'll be wearing
What if
a hat that says Blade on it soon. Sorry, who was
As long as they don't hit the Joss Whedon button, then I'm okay with that.
I don't think that that's going to happen in the current climate. That would
I
be
don't
like,
think so either.
should we get Casey Affleck? I mean, there's a
he
list.
wasn't even allowed to his own brother's wedding?
I did notice that. Yeah.
Louis C.K. is doing a rewrite of the script right now.
I mean, he's been getting a little bit of talk time, but
if Louis C.K. did a script pass on Blade, I would be happy to read it.
it's okay.
In any case,
my dream director is they get Christopher Nolan. How cool would that be?
To
That'd
do
be
Blade.
That would never happen. But like,
no, I mean, he's not going
man,
to come
that
into
would be
any
so
project
cool.
that that's already been conceptualized.
No, absolutely not. But
yeah. But what is this? Where was your excitement level for Blade, Nate? And what does this do to it?
My excitement level for Blade was very low because I just in general am not super jazzed about reboots and stuff. Like, I love the Blade movies. I like them more. Blade has always been a interesting character for me that I read some of the books, but I was way more into it because like the movies came out when I was a kid. So like that was my jam. So for me, even being a Marvel nerd, like I never really liked Blade's crossovers with stuff like when he was in the Avengers and stuff like that. Like I just think he's cooler as the dark Daywalker in between, deal with the mystical stuff. There's some like the Midnight Suns thing was kind of cool that he was in because it made sense. It was more like magic stuff, but I don't know. I love Mahershala Ali, and I like Marvel stuff, so I'm definitely gonna watch it. But until we get a trailer like that's really good, like I'm reserving my hype. No hype for announcements. I need content.
I feel like Lewis is suggesting that I should direct Blade, and considering my body of work, I don't see why that would be a bad idea for any reason. I'll bring the three of you on as my co-directors, and I'm sure that movie will be fantastic. Michael, Blade, what if it's delayed? What is that going to do to your life if they need to get a new director and reshape some things?
It's fine.
So you didn't have it circled on your calendar?
No, I just keep thinking about like Ron Howard as Blade now.
Oh, starring. So you want Opie Cunningham to play Blade in the movie. I'm glad you appreciated the fact that I called him Opie Cunningham.
I'm also stuck on Lewis Cox's other comment. Also, rest in peace, Coolio, where you were good in Daredevil, the director's cut.
Actually, our friend Jordan Bloom from MODOK did post some memories of Coolio in movies, including the director's cut of Daredevil, which, say what you want about Daredevil, the director's cut, at least the story made more sense. It worked in a way,
I love Daredevil.
I don't know if I ever watched the director's cut.
It's
I don't know if
well,
I did either.
out of respect for Coolio, I would say watch that instead of his video for Gangster's Paradise. Although Michelle Pfeiffer is very very compelling in the video for that.
And then watch Elektra, but that doesn't
No.
have a director's
Don't worry,
cut.
No.
We're doing it, Michael.
we're going to do a watch of Elektra, especially since you sullied my home with a DVD of it. But we'll get to that. Yeah, let us know in the chat what you're thinking. Our pal Farad Muhammad says Blade delayed, made in the shade. Let's see. Ghost 8386. There was a nod to Jesse Owens in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't think that's actually, but Ghost, I'm always happy to share your comments because Ghost is one of my favorite commenters. I might be the only one that Ghost still likes on the show. I could be wrong, but he will let us know. Cammy Egan, that's who I was looking for. I was excited for Blade, but now I'm on the fence. Mahershala is perfect for Blade, and with the loss of a director and writers, is he even going to want to stay in the MCU? Look, I really want to know what Edgar Wright's Ant-Man would have been like, but the Ant-Man that they got is clearly the vision that they wanted to, no pun intended, for Paul Bettany. That's what they wanted to fit into the MCU. And it's probably very similar to this. He left, but, did they push him on the way out while he was like, well, I'm thinking of leaving, I'm sure that it'll feel like an MCU movie. And I think that's the important thing to them, that these things don't feel separate from all of that.
It's got to be really bad for you to leave your director position in like a Marvel movie.
With 2 months to spare. So, I mean, he's been working on it for a long time already. So time spent alone.
That's money in the bank.
Well, look,
bank. It's like future money too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's more opportunities to direct more things.
And they're not about to you don't get on another movie like this after leaving, a month before the shooting. So he's not, Marvel's never going to call him again.
No, and especially because Disney's going to, buy up Warner Brothers and probably Universal too. So it's really all going to be one company before.
Do you think so?
Yes.
No, I think Warner Brothers. I think that if Warner Brothers was interested in selling DC as all those valuable properties for, I don't know, what did they pay for Star Wars? $1 billion. So what, 2 billion, 3 billion? What does it cost to buy DC?
Well, what about the publishing side of that?
There's not anywhere near as much money in the publishing as there is in movies.
You could imagine DC and
Marvel
becoming one.
Marvel operates their comic book line at a loss because it generates ideas for the movies. I mean, it might have improved in recent years, but I doubt that the pandemic really helped much.
Yeah,
but
they make more off of the video game licensing and toy sales and stuff than they do off comics anymore.
Yeah. This is a great comment from Cam Egan. As always, you're one of my other favorites. I don't want John Krasinski as Reed Richards, but I wouldn't mind it if he directs Blade. He's done some directing,
Yeah, I don't want him as Reed Richards either.
Okay, well, what if he just wears a Reed Richards, the white stripes around the sides of his head while he directs?
While directing, I think that's a great point.
While directing. That's like his version of a director's cap.
And he uses a very long hand as well. I think that
why would he be qualified to direct Blade? In what?
I mean,
Quiet
he
Place?
did a Quiet Place. Yeah, I think
that's like a action movie.
No, but I mean, when you think of why is Matt Shakman directing Fantastic Four? Because Wanda flew one time.
No. Okay.
But I'm just saying, I think
it's because
the Russo brothers had directed Community before this, the sitcom. So I mean, before they got into the MCU. Yeah.
They need a black director though, or at least a person of color. To be honest.
No, I think you're right because you can't replace him with John Krasinski.
Cool, but that's the last thing they need.
Does the guy who played Stanley on The Office direct? So because that might be just
very slowly.
Yeah. Hey, Idris Elba was in The Office for a few episodes.
Yeah, let's get him to direct.
I mean, no, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't look. It's a vampire hunter movie. I can't say I know the genre well enough to say.
I got it.
I can
Spike
think
Lee.
Who's that? Spike Lee? Oh my gosh! You want to talk about a guy who
Just to
can't?
give Blade that one moving shot where he doesn't walk.
Yep, that's how it starts.
Soundtrack would be good.
Instead of the day walker, he'll just be the day hoverer.
In any case, let us know your thoughts on all of this. Let's shift over to our friend Jen Walters over on She-Hulk episode 7. And Nate, you weren't here last week, but I definitely will pat myself on the back. Josh was too good to be true. I'm like, no, he's way too into her just as not She-Hulk. And so the big reveal at the end, I mean, once he ghosted her, I was like, all right, I'm pretty sure I'm right. And then right as the episode ends at the 29-minute mark, I'm like, yep, I was right. What did you think about this episode, just in general? And then we'll talk about some of the characters we were introduced to, which I know is of particular interest to Eric.
I liked it. It was fun. Last week, it was like with the episode preceding it, it was definitely a little bit of like, why are you giving us this now? Give us what we really want. But
You mean
I
Daredevil?
enjoyed the brawl with Titanium stuff, and yeah, and then so with this episode too, like now I understand why we took that detour to give her this little romantic interest, which is moving the plot along about the intelligentsia and all that stuff. So I thought it came together well. It just all these episodes just feel so short, man. And,
Yeah.
like good, it's good, but it's just so short. And also I love Tim Roth, especially when he gets to do comedy. Like it's just so good.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, like, there's definitely so many. I don't know, like in Quentin Tarantino movies, he'll usually, even Reservoir Dogs, when he's like learning the speech that he has to do. Yeah, he's always very compelling to watch. And I like somebody called him, say whoever it was in the chat that called him like Obama Noste or something. You had a better name. That wasn't quite it. It was a really
Obama
good nickname.
Stay.
Yeah, Obama Stay. That's it.
That's what it said on
I
the
did
poster behind him.
like that iteration of him.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I like that we get to see Jen being happy in the beginning, and then there's definitely just like, well, it's not going to go well though. She's not going to get to stay happy, and I didn't realize it was only going to last for about 4 minutes. What did you think, Eric?
It's funny. This episode, I feel like even more so than last week, was just a nice little trifle. Like it's as it ends, I realized like, wow, I didn't feel much tension. I didn't feel much, concern, but I enjoyed so much. Like Tim Roth is really a funny performer, and it's interesting because he doesn't do comedy very much.
Right.
Like I was like thinking about his sort of, his IMDb credits, and I'm trying to remember, like maybe you'd have to go back like really far to like when he did that Woody Allen film, Everyone Says I Love You. He was like a criminal in that. And he was hysterical. And so like I think they've found such a great place for him to be as a character now. And I talked before about how, well, this isn't the same dude from The Incredible Hulk. And right now I don't care at all because he's so grounded and centered. And he's not pushing the comedy. You know what I mean? Like he's not trying, he's like actually very centered as a performer in this. And there was so much like craziness around him that his like underplaying was perfect. And with performance too. And again, this episode, I agree. It was better for the big picture than the short, but I just think like Tatiana Maslany, however you pronounce her name.
Maslany,
whatever you want to call her. Yeah. Tatiana M, as I like to call her. She's so good in this. And there's moments where she's the Hulk and the CG is a little funky, but her performance, her expressions, the body language is terrific. And I feel like that's been getting lost along the way, is like we take for granted some of these actors, and she is terrific in this role. So fun. And I loved her constantly looking at her phone. I thought that was one of those very Ally McBeal kind of emotional details that just makes her such a wonderful character. So not much of an episode, but I've thoroughly enjoyed this show, and
there was some good
look forward to
character
season
stuff,
2.
and we'll explore some of
Yeah.
the other characters. And Kame Egan chimed in right at the point. Well, she said he was so Tim Roth we're talking about was great in 4 Rooms. So that's a
Right.
that's a nice pull from the IMDb. What did you think of this episode, Michael?
I like that Eric called it a trifle. It's a good food analogy for this episode. It was in the beginning I was like, why are we doing this? But by the end I got it. It's kind of with Nate, like, why after last week are we getting another one of these like kind of off kind of trips? I want to see her working a case, but by the end I'm all right with that, because I didn't really like that guy. I didn't think he was right for her, because the fact that he didn't ever mention She-Hulk was kind of weird to me, because
That's
it's kind of like the elephant in the room. But I guess we're gonna see where it goes.
Yeah, no, I think that I agree, and just sort of they've really hammered home this idea, and I think this episode sort of explored it more. Why she liked the idea that this guy, liked her not as She-Hulk, but and they were, all like it was pretty cool. I think that as we dive into some of the other characters we got to meet in the episode, the complete, even in a a mental health, and whatever this rehabilitation community is that Abomination's running there, to just really kind of turn the page and forgive the guy who was part of the group who attacked her just a few episodes ago. That was just like, okay, I feel like she probably still should have roughed him up at the end,
I feel
maybe
like
I'm
she
wrong.
should have gotten his insurance.
Oh yeah, well that too. Eric has done some of his homework, and Michael, I know you will love this image because it comes from the set of 1991 Marvel Superheroes trading cards, which for people who know Michael know how important that set is to him. I mean, many of the sets. So what did you find as you did your 2 a.m. deep dive, Eric, looking into these characters?
You know what? I would admit I knew like none of them.
Yeah, like honestly, if I saw this guy like there, I would think that was Forge from X-Men.
A little bit.
Maybe Prince Namor. I'm like, what did he do to his ears? So
maybe
yeah, I
Timothy
agree.
Timothy Dalton from The Rocketeer, maybe. But
Timothy Dalton from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Actually, that's
Pierce Brosnan. But I didn't want to humiliate you.
No, you should have. No,
I didn't want to shame you.
I deserve that shame.
The thing I really kind of was grabbing on when I was like looking at this is like She-Hulk's really taken a page from the MODOK textbook, which I'm totally fine with, because MODOK had such a blast with like, mining for these like lesser known characters. And when he was on your show, Jordan was talking about how he was, trying to get ones that Marvel wouldn't let him use. Yeah. And I think that approach is kind of fun. I think, again, how do we have this overstuffed Marvel universe without it just imploding? And that's the way to do it, is like, this one's going to have fun with it. Deadpool is going to be a buddy comedy. Like, they continue, I think, to very smartly kind of push each property to the kind of a corner that's their own. And I think like taking a cue from MODOK, which I thought was a really fun show, is a great plan for this. Yeah. Bull man bull.
Yeah.
He looked just, and to their credit, he didn't look like this, but he looked just as ridiculous in a lot of different ways. So buoy to them for pulling that off.
What was that, Michael?
That's just like a bull in a diaper. Or Jessica Alba Honest diaper.
That was the name of my autobiography, Just a Bull in a Diaper.
Just a Bull in a Diaper. Yeah. And you, I don't know. We've got this other person in this picture, but I guess it reminded you of a moment from your own past. Is that fair to say?
Well, she watches Great Muppet Caper at one point.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't Man Bull. It was the fact that she was watching Great Muppet Caper.
which reminded me, oh yeah, I have a picture of me in the world's worst Miss Piggy costume that I felt the need to share.
Here's how bad the
That-
costume is.
What?
I'm not sure which one of you is
Wait.
supposed to be Miss Piggy.
What are you talking about?
For many years,
There's so
listen,
much going on in this image.
Yeah, thank you, Nate,
and yet
for saying
nothing.
what we're all
And yet
thinking.
This
nothing at
belongs
all.
in a museum.
Wait.
Yeah,
What?
this is this is for those of you who think you miss out on something by not living through the 90s. You didn't.
And a
Where's
reminder
Eric?
why I'm the one with the big curly hair. I'm the guy on the left.
That's
Yeah.
Miss Piggy?
You don't
Yeah,
recognize that baby
obviously.
face?
Wait, what?
I
But-
think we just broke
I
Michael's
like
brain.
missed something because there's
I
like a
don't think
guy
you
in a
did.
toga.
Yeah,
A pink toga, though.
but can
Yes,
we
thank you.
instead talk about how great Charles Grodin is in Great Muppet Caper? Just compelling. Just top notch. Only a handful of actors knew exactly how to perform with the Muppets. Him and Michael Caine immediately come to mind. So look, I'm a big proponent, and that was one of the things that I liked about MODOK is I love getting these characters. Anybody who's watched the show for any amount of time, how many times have you said, can we just please get Paste Pot Pete? And we still haven't. But this guy's just the porcupine, right? Or is he porcupine? I mean, yeah. But MODOK had the armadillo, who is like a worse version of this guy, So, look, I like that we're getting these characters. I also feel like she's gonna need some help at the end of this season. I feel like we're gonna see them all again in a superhero setting. I think Daredevil's gonna help her out. I'm assuming Bruce is coming back at some point, but I guess we'll see. I don't know. I mean, Michael, do you appreciate that, whether you knew these characters or not, but do you appreciate the idea that we get, these shout outs to some of the more obscure, basically if you opened that pack of Marvel trading cards and that guy was in it, you were like, God damn it, I wanted Gambit.
I really like when they play with the like D-list characters. Suicide Squad did a good job with that.
Oh, yeah.
MODOK did a good job with that. I think there's a lot more room for that. I always have a problem with them rebooting characters constantly when I see, there's such a big giant lexicon of like characters out there. And I don't know where they or why they decided these particular ones. I guess they could help her in some way. I hope Daredevil is going to be tied in by the law side of things. If he just comes like I want him to show up as like the new partner at the firm or something. I don't want him to not be involved that way, but I don't feel like they could.
Well, we've got 2 episodes left,
that?
so
I
either
don't know.
next week or the week after, we're getting some Matt Murdock in our lives, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out, and we've probably got like a running time of like 58 more minutes in the season, so they better be very economical with their storytelling. Something that people brought to my attention on social media after we did our show last week, and it was something I noticed, but I forgot to talk about, was last week, there was a moment where it looked like Nikki broke the fourth wall and kind of looked right at us. And I think that it's interesting because only Jen has done that so far on the show. Did anybody see that last week? Feel like that may have happened? And if so, do you have any thoughts on what it could mean?
I heard somebody say that, but I didn't catch it.
Yeah, the way that she stares directly into the camera, it was like she wasn't looking at the other lawyer she was working with. Like she was like off to the side. So the only thing she could have been doing was looking in the camera.
I don't think it's that weird.
No, it's just nobody else has done it on the show though.
Well, she's kind of taking her role for the day.
That's fair. I didn't think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something you feel that you would tell your students, Eric, that they need to be careful with? Don't don't break that fourth wall so much that you can't put it back up.
I think it's with this show, especially this episode, where she all of a sudden said, "Did we do it previously on?" So, I mean, they're having a lot of fun with the form. So, I think it within this show, no problem. Other shows, maybe it'd be an issue. But I mean, honestly, even Modern Family, which technically isn't a documentary crew following them around, though it has that feel.
No, that everything that happened on that show was real. It was a documentary. I don't know what you're talking about.
Very much so.
Modern Family was a documentary. Yeah.
And occasion, well, I mean, yes, it smells of truth. I know that.
Called docu-reality.
But him, like, occasionally they would look at the cameras, even though it's not technically supposed to be a camera during some of those scenes. So, and they got away with it every time. And I think with this show, yeah, they've already established, like, we're going to have as much fun as possible with the form.
Man,
and they only go further with each episode with that.
Yeah. Ivan Soto, you are a tough nut to crack. Ugh, Modern Family.
Really?
So, I'm glad you like our show. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, and I don't know. I want to see all these elements come together. You know, I hope that Nikki gets some more moments to shine in these last 2 episodes. And I want to know, I want to have a good feeling at the end of this season. And let me know if you agree, Nate, where we kind of have a feeling like, okay, we're going to see She-Hulk again, you know, in maybe a movie or a season 2 of this show. You know, because Moon Knight, they left it open-ended. You may never see him again. And some people wouldn't be disappointed in that. But do you feel like it's realistic to want to know how soon it would be before we see She-Hulk again, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, I would put money on them at least giving a very heavy reference to whatever she will be in next by the end. If not just you know, I mean, in this show, she might just look at the camera at the end and go, "See you in season 2." You know, like
that's true.
It's hard to tell. But I'm curious to see how they wrap it up. Like, I'm hoping we get like some longer episodes near the end because there's kind of a lot. And this one too was good character development wise, but it was also still some like setup and not too much like plot progression. So yeah, I don't know. I want to see more Jen. I love this take in the character. And also I was going to say too, like I am really enjoying them bringing in these characters, like the little minor ones, because it makes the world feel more like the Marvel universe and not just like, there's just these heroes and they're the cool ones and everyone likes them, but everywhere else in the world there's no one with powers doing anything. Like even just the idea that these guys are like villains, right, that are trying to come back, like that implies that there's smaller villains and there's other smaller heroes that are doing that. Like, because we had the guy making the superhero suit, right? And
yeah, well,
we haven't seen him make it for anything for the Avengers, at least that we know of. So obviously there's other people there he's making suits for. So I want more of that, of where the world it feels lived in, and there's characters that fill it out that aren't just like, look at this shiny reference, look at this, right? Like they're just there because it makes sense for them to be there. So I hope they keep that going. And yeah, I mean, I would very much like to see Jen in a movie maybe at some point, but I have a feeling it would probably be more of just like a cameo scenario than like an actual lead thing.
Daniel Drew makes a great point. It would be fun to have her in Fantastic Four, even just for a moment, but that's Phase 6. I mean, she was a longtime member of the Fantastic Four, so that would be great to see.
I think she would work great too, like in the long run, of being almost like a Phil Coulson type character that is connecting a lot of these properties together, right? And because she, especially with the like her job of being like a superhero lawyer, like it's very easy for her to pop into different franchise and stuff, and especially with how fun and like warm, I don't know if the right word to describe this show is, like I think it's a good character for her to introduce other people to other characters. So yeah, I think they really nailed this character, and her performance is spectacular. So yeah, here's hoping for a World War Hulk with all the Hulks.
Yeah, no, I would. I mean, that is a working theory. Is that's where Bruce is off to, and maybe
have a question for you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, especially with this last episode, we got all these teasers about Abomination. He was fighting in Doctor Strange movie, and he comes in and he's like, "Oh, I'm reformed." Like the more that they show him nice and reformed, the more I'm absolutely positive that he's about. There has to be something else going on. There's
Oh,
no way that he's just like this is the end of the story arc. Like there has to be something else going on.
yeah, I don't think that there was a glitch in his ankle restraint. I don't think he accidentally touched an electric fence.
I didn't
The
even think about that, but that
the
makes
old
sense.
Ren and Stimpy don't whiz on the electric fence. I don't think
That,
that's actually what he did.
that dude was
Yeah,
so in and out of there so fast. I forgot that that's why they went there.
yeah, yeah. They did brush over it. It's so much so that if you hadn't brought this up, we wouldn't have talked about it. But yeah, I had that thinking. Eric, do you think he's a ne'er do well? Do you think that the Abomination is up to something abominable?
Yeah, well, it would seem like an awful waste of an Abomination to not have an Abomination come back. And not to mention, too, on top of that, he has minions. So, like, he's
You
actually
mean
even
the little yellow guys from the cartoons?
very specifically that,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he's more dangerous than ever because he actually has a team,
Yeah.
and I know in the comic books you had various sort of Hulk teams along the way, like the Venom team. So I think, yeah, I mean, they have a lot of work to do these last 2 episodes because they've set up a lot of possibilities. But really, I mean, especially with the length of these shows, they're going to have to just kind of like dive in because there's only 2 episodes left, or am I off by one?
No, there's I believe there's 9 episodes. Because
Yeah, so
episode 8 was originally going to be what ended up being the premiere, where we got her
Right.
origin in episode 8. So next week is going to end in some kind of big, cliffhangery, I don't know, just some way where it'll all come together in episode 9. But I guess we'll see. Michael, your thoughts? Is Emil up to something dastardly, something
I
abominationable?
think it's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
I guess not because you guys haven't said it. But
No,
he's-
yeah. I mean, it's
he's
I don't know.
the
You
Hulk.
don't usually get a cult when you're up to something good. It's not
I-
like Nexium started out well, and then it went off the rails a little bit. Jim Jones, the Kool-Aid wasn't really the turning point. Usually, I could even mention David Koresh. I've thought of 3 guys who had cults off the top of my head, and I'm very proud. But usually, yeah, the inciting incident, it's like there's some signs before there, and I think we are getting all of those signs.
I think he's the Hulk King. I think he's
Okay.
the one trying to get her blood.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
I mean, his guys in the rehabilitation.
Yeah. Do we think that Josh got some She-Hulk blood because the text he said had it, but would she really have slept through that if he took some of her blood?
That
Oh
depends.
crap!
All right, I know where Michael's going, but go ahead.
No.
Marvel wouldn't go.
No.
in the
Marvel would
trash
not go there.
can, like
No.
where I think.
No, but I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, I guess he could have drugged her, and she would have been sedated. But I don't know. What do
I
you
don't
think?
he has her blood?
No, I don't think he does. I'm not quite sure. That's sort of the surprising part. What do you think about that notion, Nate? Do you think that he was successful in getting that, or is this just more a setup for something that'll happen in our next episode?
No, I think he got it already because otherwise he wouldn't have ghosted her.
Yeah,
Well, why wouldn't they
Like,
have
he-
shown it?
Because
maybe
of
maybe
the
next week.
reveal. What are they going to
Yeah.
show him like sticking her with a needle and
Yeah,
pulling it
instead
out?
of
Like,
him copying her phone, what's the difference?
oh, maybe we I mean, yes, the phone thing did happen too, so maybe that's all that he wanted, but that seems like,
Maybe that was
Yeah.
his
they were
job.
trying to get the blood before. They just needed
Yes.
a different approach. And then Homie was talking about the vibranium needle and then if that would work. And then also too, something that's very important, he courted her as Jen and not as She-Hulk, so that when they did the thing, she wasn't hulked out, right? So her
Yeah.
skin is not as impenetrable as it is when she's hulked out. So it theoretically would have
Yeah.
been pretty easy to just get a blood sample from her. And I don't know, I've had nights where after my evening activities, I'm dead to the world. So maybe they
Would
just had
that,
a good
by
time
any
and
chance,
figured it
Nate, would
out.
that have been last night?
No,
Okay.
No, not last night. I wish
No,
that would have been much better decision making.
Speaking of, if anyone wants one of Nate's kidneys, I got him.
Oh, that's
but
why.
they're on ice. Yeah, so don't worry.
Sorry, he gave me
Ice.
some Motrin to help me.
What do we yeah, so okay, so Daniel points out he was texting Hulk King. Yes, that's who it was too. That's who he was texting. But all right, so I guess we are you with the opinion, Eric, that he did get some of her blood, which was all the ruse for that?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, considering how much they planted it, it'd be a little strange that he, used his golden, scepter and didn't bother with the blood. I mean, again, the cell phone feels like he could have got that at any time. So I think
so. When you say golden scepter, do you mean the one that's between his legs?
I assume it's between his legs. I don't know the
Yeah,
character
okay.
very well.
That's true. You don't know the anatomy.
How does that have
Point of
anything to do with
euphemisms.
blood?
He could be a Skrull. You don't know where it is if you're a shapeshifter. Look, I'm enjoying the show. I'm having fun with it. It has never once have I had the moment where I'm like, this show is taking itself too seriously. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it wraps up. Next week we'll of course talk about episode 8, but Eric and I will also probably be able to offer some non-spoiler reaction to something that Eric actually got the hookup on. So why don't you tell people what we'll be able to give some first impressions on next week?
Sure thing. I will be celebrating the end of Yom Kippur with Christian at my side as we see Werewolf by Night in the theaters over at the Arrow.
And
Michael Giacchino. It's funny. Neither of us even realized Michael Giacchino.
I had no idea he was directing it. He does a lot of music for J.J. Abrams movies and obviously a bunch of other stuff. But great composer.
So he'll be doing a Q&A as well, 35 millimeter print. And
it starts at 10:15 at night. The last time I went to something that started at 10:15, I was probably not even in my 30s yet. But I'm very excited. I think that this is a movie that should be watched by night. So we will be able to let you guys know what we think about that. And we will, of course, refer back to She-Hulk episode 8. In the meantime, if you have not had enough of me in the last 52 minutes, check out the latest episode of Who Are These Podcasts, where I sat in and we dissected a show called Bad with Money with Gabby Dunn and talked about a personal hero of Eric Connor, John Melendez, also known as Stuttering John, who one of his burner accounts has interacted with me on Twitter. So there's a lot of fun to be found. It's much in the fashion of things you can find in the Blackcast Network. The episode clocks in just over 2 hours, but if you go look for Who Are These Podcasts, the latest episode features yours truly. And next week over on the Geekscape Network, look for an interview that our friend Jonathan London did with Finn Jones, where he talks about Iron Fist, how strongly he feels about Iron Fist, and how much he would love to continue to be Iron Fist in the MCU. He said, I haven't seen it, but Jonathan messaged me afterwards because he knows how much, he knows that I loved Iron Fist season 2 and I liked Iron Fist season 1. So look for that as well. I think that might be of interest to people over here. And Nate, where can people find you?
Nowhere. You can't find me. I'm in hiding.
That's probably a good day for it. But people found you right here, and they might see some indication on where they can find you. And Michael, there was a minute there where you were known as Seb Shirley, but I guess you're back to Michael X Shirley. So
changing it up.
A lot of stuff happens while I'm asleep.
Never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't be able to handle 1 hour of being Michael Shirley. So the fact that you do it 24 hours a day, bless you, sir. How do people interact with Michael X Shirley?
You can find me on Instagram at I Hate Michael Shirley and on Twitter at right now at Michael X Shirley.
But stay alert and keep an eye out for.
I want to change it. I do.
From Michael X. Shirley?
Yeah,
No, come
I
on.
do.
Wolverine's coming back. This is the time to keep the X in there.
Ah!
Michael Y. Shirley, I think would be.
I want them all to be
perfect.
this. I want all my
Yeah.
social media to be the
Stock
same.
price of X is about to go way up.
Yeah.
Buy now. Buy X now. Invest.
That was the one thing that they preached at AfterBuzz, is that your social media should all be consistent. So
It should.
that's like day one, and Michael missed that class over
Twitter
there. But
just doesn't add enough characters.
I get it.
Whatever.
Eric, how can people find you and your good-looking hat?
Yes, me and my Mets hat will be hanging out at Count Eric Connor on Instagram and Twitter. And if you are in the Burbank area, Friday night, Burbank Pride over at Magnolia Park Night Out. So should be a pretty awesome event. It's I'm pretty proud of Burbank for entering this century. So hats off to them, although I'll keep my hat on.
Are you gonna bring your husband?
I have many husbands I'm bringing, including Chris.
He's
invited too.
He's bringing one of them to see Werewolf by Night on Wednesday.
That's right. I'm sorry. What'd you say, Nate?
He's trying to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, plead the fifth.
Yeah. Come on, Michael. You understand the concept of the down low.
Eric's
Come
on
on.
the down low. Yeah. Sorry,
Well,
not anymore.
Thank you to everyone in the chat. As Craig says, and as the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior!